Service level agreements, or SLAs, are a basic element of measuring service delivery and a required component of service level management. Let me show you how easy it can be to configure and manage these valuable agreements. Hi, Matt Barron, Product Specialist at InvGate. With InvGate Service Desk, you can set up service level agreements with any level of complexity. Before we get started, you can always grab a trial instance of our software at try.invgate.com and follow along. Whether you're just getting started or if you have a complex set of service levels or agreements that you need to track, InvGate Service Desk has room for what you need. Now, hopefully you've done some of the work toward defining stakeholders and objectives, as these are some of the building blocks toward understanding the basics of service level management. And once you've met with those stakeholders and spoken about expectations, you can put some of those expectations into service to measure whether your teams can meet those service levels. SLA configuration in InvGate Service Desk can be found under Settings, Requests, and SLAs. And although I would argue that SLAs should never pause, you have a global option here to determine which ticket status your SLA timers should pause. For example, it's fairly common for people to pause the SLA when the ticket is awaiting for the customer. Below that setting, you can see that there are basically two sets of SLAs you can set up, one for resolution and another for response time. Both of these work the same way, but one measures the time the ticket has been submitted to the time that an agent messages the customer, and the other one measures the amount of time a ticket is created to the time it is confirmed to be resolved by the customer. Let's create a new resolution SLA so you can see how these work. The first thing we do is set the conditions for the SLA. This particular SLA will be for our telecom provider. So we're going to select the correct category of tickets to match. In this case, it's going to be a telephone request. Now this SLA is only going to apply to this specific type of category, and our telco provider only has an agreement about their delivery time for high and critical tickets. So we'll add in a new condition here for when the priority is high and critical. Perfect. Now you can add as many conditions as you need, and you can see how adding multiple conditions or multiple SLAs may be needed depending on your complexity. So you might have different telco providers in each of your office or each of your different regions of the world, which would then require a different SLA for each office. Now that I have the conditions configured, I can name this SLA. So we're just going to call this Telco SLA, and we're going to put in the agreed upon value. So for these tickets, they have agreed that they would resolve our incidents within 24 hours. And this is real-time hours, so we leave paused at none here. But you can see under here that you can set them to specific hours for a help desk or custom for if you want to track other types of hours, like business hours, for example. Evaluate on change will reevaluate the SLA each time that the request is updated. This is particularly important to keep on if you anticipate the priority location or category changing. So it might seem obvious, but if the request changes and now it no longer matches your contract, you may want the SLA to cancel or shift to another SLA that you're measuring. So I usually keep this checked. And then the next setting is log time setting. This is for whether you want to store the already elapsed time and apply it to the next SLA. So if the priority changes from high and critical to medium or low, do we want to save the time from this measurement and apply it now to those medium and low SLAs? Now, I don't have SLAs there, but I usually recommend that people keep this checked as well. The last setting is to determine if you want to share the estimated SLA expiration time to the customer or end user. And depending on your SLA performance, I'll let you decide if you want to make that expectation even clearer. Last but not least, we have the actions. This powerful feature and section allows you to set up specific actions to take at various points of the SLA duration. It's pretty common for service level managers or service desk managers to want to send emails, add observers, or reassign requests at specific points in the SLA duration. This is another situation where your specific setup is important. You're going to want to match your contract. For example, I have my telecom provider integrated, so if we create a telephone ticket, it automatically creates a ticket for them. But you might have another way you do this. Perhaps agents are instructed to create a ticket and then email the provider, or you've got InvGate Service Desk configured to email them automatically. Whatever the case is, make sure you completely understand how you're set up, because if you create actions here that send additional emails or change assignments, it's going to end up creating more noise, and if you haven't already trained on it, it could cause some confusion. In this case, however, I'm just wanting an email when my SLA reaches 75%, so I'll have 6 hours remaining to triage with the telco and get involved. And I can add as many of these as I want. So I'm going to actually set up action number 1 to be 75%, and I'm going to hit add here, and we're going to send an email, and I'm going to have that email go to the help desk manager. Okay, I've written my email, so now you can see that I'm going to basically send an email to help desk managers that gives the ticket number, a warning about the SLA percentage, along with the agent name, the customer's full name, and then a link to the ticket. So I'll hit save here. And then you can see I can add new groups of actions here. So perhaps I wanted another warning at 90%, and maybe that escalates to the next team or assigns it to me, whatever I need. Now, I can show you some SLA reporting. I've got 2 basic ways that I look at SLAs. First, I want to know how many we're missing and do some basic digging on SLAs that we've missed. So here I have my monthly SLA report, which is going to give me a couple metrics. You can see I've actually selected some metrics already around resolution SLA expired and first response SLA expired. I'm also going to show the help desk, and I can see the total requests here as well. Now I'm only focused on IT, so if I click there I can see that. And I'm going to focus today on application support. So now I can see how my 2 different levels of my application support team are doing on this monthly SLA report. If I need the individual tickets and I want to get into the details, I just click details and I can see all of the tickets listed. But you can see this is a fairly easy way to see which tickets have missed their SLA and which ones have met their SLAs. I also have a report to address SLA and customer satisfaction with individual agents in their one-on-ones. I could also set this report to email my agents directly if I wanted to. But basically, I want to be able to see who's doing well with their CSAT rating, how many tickets people are creating and closing, and then what their SLA percentage is. So I've got a couple people that are kind of missing the ball on their SLAs. They are only meeting about half of their SLAs. And then I've got another agent here who's got a bad CSAT rating. So I know who I need to work on technically, and I know who I need to work on with soft skills and emotional intelligence. Now, if I want to email this to my agents directly or set up some automation, that can be done back here with this simple scheduled reports link, where you can see I've already got it enabled. It's sending to me currently, and I'm sending it on the last day of the month at 7 a.m. and I'm doing it every month. And I can set up additional settings like give me the entire list of requests, what fields I want on those requests, how many I want to be emailed, everything that I want. Then, make sure that you develop training, knowledge, and guidance to work with and within defined service levels. With our tooling, we hope that you're able to meet every objective and every SLA. And this is just one aspect of InvGate Service Desk that's designed to make service management easy again. For more on this topic, check us out on YouTube or discover our solutions by signing up for a trial at try.invgate.com. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again soon.